Thanks for clicking on Just Beast Fitness. I'm your trainer Jasper Bravo, and today we are training legs. If you've been told that you need to train your legs and that your upper body is too big for your lower body, this is a video for you. You need to make those legs catch up with the upper body, and if that's the case, we are starting right now. And we are starting with the calves as always. Sorry. And when I start with calves, somebody will be wondering, because many people throw calves at the end of the workout. But I have two reasons for starting with the calves. Number one is because calves is my weakest point as far as my legs is concerned. So I start with it when I'm freshest and the most of energy. Number two, calves tend to need less time in between the sets to recover. So since that, like, you can rest for about even 10 seconds when doing calves in between the sets and you'll be good for the next set. Of course, some people will go for long as 20-30 seconds, but personally I usually feel like 10 seconds is good enough. So since that is good, that it takes that short to do that, I don't need to combine it with any other workout. I just want to do it. I like doing it and just getting it out of the way fast, because it's easier to get away with. Not that it is easy, but it is getting away with it quicker is easier because of the time in between the sets, which is a bit shorter. Yeah, also if you want to bring them up, just to make sure that your calves catch up with the rest of the leg, start with them. And by the way, Alex Omozi usually starts with all his workout with the calf raises. He does 100 calf raises, and the guy, we can't argue that he has awesome calves. And there's a time he had very skinny legs. So maybe that's if that's not enough reason for you maybe to start, then I don't know, maybe do you. But right now I'm just starting with the calves, and I go for 6 sets for this workout. And I usually train my calves. Personally, I don't do them every day like Alex Omozi, but I do mine every other day. At least I rest my calves once per day. Another reason why I rest my calves once per day, or why I treat them by training them so frequently, is because calf muscles tend to also recover really soon. Just a day after you worked out your calves, you wouldn't feel anything most of the time, especially if you're a seasoned trainer. You'll get to a place you'll not really feel anything. You can always just hit them tomorrow because they recover really fast. And the reason for that, I think, maybe is because you work with them all the time, so they're used to being beat. So training them is not a big deal to them. They'll just recover. They're used to going through stress and suffering, for lack of a better word. So that's why you can always train them every other day or every day if you want to bring them up. And by the way, if calves is just one of those muscles that if you don't have, you'll never know how important they are until you have them, because calves will even give you the confidence to put on shorts. Nowadays it looks weird when you see somebody has a very huge leg and then they haven't trained their calves and they're putting on shorts. You notice that they have very awesome thighs, but the legs are so tiny, it makes you look just ridiculous, and you don't want that. So I think that's why some people usually call chicken legs, because that's how chicken look. Chicken have no calves, by the way, but they still stand. I don't understand how they do that, but they have no calves at all. Now we are still on the calves, so I do 6 sets for this, and I do one side, then I do the other side. Then the first one I do very well controlled to failure, then I do on the other side also the same. Then I repeat before I drop the weight down, but now the Mayo sets, I mean not the Mayo sets, but the partial reps, so that I can hit it, because there are people who usually say that those partial reps are the best for building calves, and I've also learned that the ones that really work for me are those control reps. But why now I do both, somebody will be wondering why, is because those shallow or partial reps and the quick reps, they tend to give me some feeling of a pump, and so I enjoy that too. So for me to just have both from both of the worlds, I just do both. I do the controlled one, then before I put the weight down, I do the partial ones, then I put the weight down, then I consider that one set. And if that is not something that you've ever tried, you go try it, and I know you'll feel different. You'll feel some pump that you're not used to feeling. So yeah, and right now I know you'll be wondering what's the weight I'm using when doing this. I'm only using 20 kilograms because I want to do very high reps and I want to be able to squeeze it at the top. Because the challenge I usually have most of the time when training my calves is not going all the way down and up, but now squeezing at the top, because it's the most difficult part of the calf raises, at the top part, and making sure that you elevate your heels as high as possible above the ground. It's not child's play, especially when you use very heavy weights. So that's why I use 20 kgs just to allow me to be able to do that and still maintain an awesome form and a reasonable number of reps. Because when the weight is too heavy and you go for the perfect set and form, you'll go for very few reps. And if you don't want to go for so very many reps, you'll have to compromise on the quality of the reps, and I don't want to do that. So that's why we do that. We use the weight that we're using right now. I can tell you right now that my calves are already feeling so much cooked, and that is because even the rest that I'm having in between the sets is super short. I'm having a rest of about 10 to 20 seconds. In fact, by the time I'm going to the next set, I will still feel some ache. I still feel the burn on the muscle, but I still do it that way because that's how I've noticed that my calves respond. Right now you can see through the sweatpants that you can see the stress and the formation of the calves. There's a time you could not see that. There's a time I had smaller calves. I've never really had super small calves, but there's a time I had smaller calves as compared to my thighs, that is my quads and the hamstring. So if you don't train your calves, I hope this is a video that encourages you to do that and makes you try that. And if usually you notice that your calves is not growing, chances are you usually throw your calves at the end of your leg workout, and that's why many people don't train their calves. They throw it at the end of the leg workout when they're already tired, that sometimes they've already even run out of time, and so sometimes you find somebody even postponing it. And those little days and few days that you miss, those are the days that make the difference, you see. So just to make sure that you don't miss your leg days, and when you do your leg days you don't miss your calves, I'd always advise that you start with them. Or if you're not going to start with them, at least make sure that you don't go home without doing your calves. It's always recommended. It will make you look good, and it's also good for your health and stability, and even for the health of your ankle. You want to have very strong and healthy ankles, and what will help you with that is training your tibialis and your calves. The tibialis is that muscle that is just in front of your shin. That is the opposite of the calves. The tiny muscle that is just down there on your shin is called tibialis. You want to train that too, so that you have a healthy ankle and a fully well functional body, because you want a leg that can carry you, because this life you need your legs for the years you still have left, and keeping your ankle healthy is one of the best ways, because that kind of is the foundation to the whole body. So always just do your calves, even if not for aesthetics, at least for your health and for your posture too. You'll walk better, you run better if you train your calves. And above that, if you compete as a bodybuilder, especially a men's physique, I notice many men's physique guys don't train their calves. It will just make you stand out. I usually know that it's not judged. The calves are not judged on the men's physique, but I know if I were a judge and all of you guys had everything equal, and the only difference that there was is the fact that one of you had a better calves, I will give him over you, because at least I'll be getting to a point where I don't know what to judge. I don't know what to differentiate, because you guys are kind of tying. So in such a place where I need to break a tie and you have better calves, I will vote for you any day, all the time. Now we're done with our calves. They're so cooked, and we start our upper leg workout, and that is, we start it with hamstrings, and we're starting with the leg curls. Leg curls. It's a very awesome workout for the hamstring, and if you guys usually start your workouts with the quads, because I know that's what majority of people do, I would advise you to start or try starting it with the calves, then you go to the hamstrings, then you finish with the quads, then you come and tell me how it felt on the comments below. And you wait for about 6 months, and then you measure your leg and you tell me if it won't have grown. Just try that. And always, and you come later, tell me on the comments about the pump you felt afterwards. But if you've not been doing that, if you always start with your squats and you want to continue doing that, do you? But always, one day, be open to trying this one. Start with the calves, then you come to the hamstrings, then you go to your quads. You will feel a pump that you've never felt before. So that's the second set. I've decided to add a little bit of the weight just to make sure that I get that challenge. I want to feel really challenged doing this workout. It's one of the workouts that I've been weak on, because for a very long time I never used to train my hamstrings. By the way, I used to train only my quads, and with the time I learned, these things you just do and you learn. And because before that I was just a bro gym goer. I never used to know so much about this stuff, and when I understood, I started training my hamstring, and as you can see, nowadays they're catching up. Now we're done with the leg curls, and now we head direct to the king of the hamstring workout, and that is RDLs, the stiff leg deadlift, or the Romanian deadlifts. And we are using 90 kgs just to make sure that control the weight well and not use our back but use our hamstrings. So that people usually ask, how can I train this workout and not train my lower back? I want you, number one, to do one thing. Start by making sure that when you're going down, try your best to push your glutes backwards other than going downwards, because always when you do the normal deadlifts, usually people tend to think of going down and up. But now with this workout, I want you to think of just moving your glutes backwards. Okay? Then number two, when you come up, don't think of lifting the weight from the floor, but think of thrusting your hip forward. Are we together? Number three, always keep in mind that when you are doing RDLs, there's a reason it's called stiff leg. Your leg needs to be stiff, which means you don't need to move your knees at any moment. You need to go down, up, and your knees need to stay at a locked position throughout the movement. Just a little super slight bend on the knee, and it should stay like that without you moving it up and down. Anyway, up and down throughout the movement without folding it at all. We are together, right? Then another thing, when you're doing stiff leg deadlift, I want you to make sure that you're engaging your glutes and the hamstring. And how do you do that? It's called mind muscle connection, which means that you're thinking of the muscle that you're training. Take all your mind to your glutes and hamstrings. Then apart from that, don't over arc your back. If you arc your back too much, you'll tend to use your lower back, but I want you to a little bit around your back, and that will make you do awesome RDLs. And that is how we're just done with the hamstrings, and we jump direct to doing quads. That is the muscle in front of your legs, and this one we're starting with the leg extension. And somebody will be wondering, why don't we start with squats? That is the secret, my guy. When you start with the leg extension, you're going to get the pump of your life. You're going to feel so great after this. Just follow me, just relax. I know you're used to starting with the squats, but just relax. Follow my lead. Just try this. Always, thank God for what I tell you guys, that if I tell you something, you can always try it, and you're not forced to do it forever. You can try it, and if you don't like it, you can as well dish it. And if you like it, of course, you can cherish and use it as I do for free. I'll not charge you anything, by the way. So the first set, I start by getting to 15 reps, and you notice I wasn't able to get to 15 reps at a go, so I use the Mayo reps, which means I get to as many reps as I can, and I just don't give up. I rest for about 10 seconds and breathe in and out, then hit it again until I get to the set, all the reps that I was supposed to do. Then I rest, then I go to the next set and do the same for them. Now on this leg extension machine, I'm doing only 3 sets of the leg extension today. Each and every workout that I'm doing, if you notice, is just 3 sets. There's a time I used to go to the gym, and the leg day I could do leg extension of several sets, like 4 sets. In fact, I could start with squats. That is, sometimes you could do like 10 sets of squats. Then you go to 5 sets of leg extension. Then you go to 4 sets of walking lunges. Then you go to, no, we never used to do leg curls, by the way, and calves. So that was an awful lot of sets for just one muscle, and you could leave the gym so beat up, because we used to think that's the only way you could build muscles before we learned and went through studies and understood that you don't need so much volume for you to build muscles, and you don't need so much volume also for you to build strength and endurance. You just need a little bit. There's enough number that you need, and if you go extra than that or more than that, there's always that diminishing return, and even gets to a place where now the returns start diminishing, and gets to a place where now it's even counterintuitive, because it gets to a place where now you destroy your muscles, you overtrain them, and now instead of them growing, they become smaller, and you don't want that, I know, because as we all know, anything that makes you lose your muscle is not your friend. Anything that makes you lose your muscle is not your friend. That's your enemy, because you always want to have muscles at whatever age. Now, especially when you are older. Now we're going to the next workout, and that is the front squat, and we're starting with this is 70 kilograms, I suppose. Yes, this is 70 kgs, and we are aiming for at least 10 reps, 10 to 12 to 15 reps, because right now the pump is crazy on the legs, and I can tell you right now, wherever I'm feeling, it's only God who knows. It's so nice, it's so crazy and brutal at the same time. If all those adjectives can exist in the same statement, then yeah, then I go ahead and superset these with the leg extension. So after doing the front squat, I don't sit down, I head direct to now a lighter bit leg extension, and I go for as many reps as I can, that is to failure, and then I rest for a few seconds, a minute or two. Then I go for the second set of the front squat, and I aim for another 10 reps. And this second set, I was able to do 10 reps, and after the 10 reps, I head direct to doing the leg extension again. Then we'll come for the third set. Now, I want you also to know that anytime when you're doing the front squat, try to raise your arms a little bit up, because if you slant your elbows, you will feel like the weight sometimes will be dropping down, and that one becomes a challenge. Sometimes you can find that you haven't reached failure, but your shoulders are already tired and the weight is dropping, and that forces you to stop the workout. So just to avoid that, always try to lift your elbows above your ear, and that will help you with the weight, with holding the weight in place, to ensure just that you don't get the weight tripping down. Now we're going to the third set of the same workout, and right now it's just between me and God. And when getting to this workout, I told myself that, God, if I do 10 reps, it will be a good workout, and if I do 12, it will be a great workout, and if I do 15, it will be an excellent workout. And guess what? I did only 8, and still I felt like it was a very good workout, and not because of the number of reps, but because I got to failure. I did my best, I gave it all I got inside me, and that matters more than anything. In fact, that's all that matters. Anything else is show off. So as always, we superset it with the leg extension, and as you can see, I'm squeezing my leg extension always at the top, and I almost slipped there because the muscle was failing for real. Sometimes you get to that moment where the muscle is just done, it can't do it anymore. So if you watch all this video, thank you, subscribe, like, and let me see you in the next one.